Check, check.
Cool. I can hear you.
I can hear you too.
Great.
I
First
can
step
too.
done.
Manage participants.
How do I do the thing again?
One moment here.
Yeah, you do your thing. I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
figure
make.
out my thing.
Now, do I have to make you the host?
I think you might. I'm not 100% sure.
Let's do it anyways.
Okay.
You're now the host.
I am the host.
To a le host.
Soy host.
Soy host.
Speaker view. How did I do
Although
this?
I guess I could just say you are the host.
Oh, right. Here we go. Share.
Duh.
There it is. Okay.
I'm gonna move my chat over here. I'm gonna move. Awesome, my participants over here. To anyone else listening who's here, I will now begin making my version of elevator music for giggles to keep you entertained.
Hi, Braden.
Do, 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 do. Hello, who was that?
It's Ness.
Hi, Ness. How's it going?
I made it.
You made it. Yay. And next week you're going to showcase for us, right?
It works.
Huzzah. Does indeed. Okay, now since we got 10 minutes, can you try making me the host again and keep sharing your screen? It'd be nice if I had the power to mute, unmute, kick, and sup.
I think I should be able to still share.
I am still the host. I am the host now. Happy day.
Great, great, great.
Je suis le host. My French, say terrible.
No one sees my face. Great. I don't want anyone to see my facial expressions when I draw because apparently I make facial expressions when I draw.
Oh, I do too.
I do the thing where I stick my tongue out in one direction and I'm just like trying to focus.
Oh,
my girlfriend makes fun of me all the time and I'm just like, stop making fun of me.
When
I'm
I
an
am
artist. Yeah, go ahead.
when I draw in coffee shops, apparently I scare people away because I'll draw the facial expressions of the people I'm trying to draw.
Yes.
And so I like grimace and sneer and pout my lips, and it's
you gotta make it right. So
terrible.
And oh my god, that video with the colors was really helpful.
Wasn't it though? Yeah, Simona's thing was interesting. Color's still something I'm struggling with too.
Yeah, I get the concept. It's the putting it into practice where I struggle.
Yeah, no, it's like any other thing. It's like you can hear about it all you like, but just putting it to practice is another thing entirely.
Like
hey guys.
Hello, who's that?
This is Bailey.
Hello, Bailey.
Hello, Bailey.
Bailey.
How are y'all doing?
Doing well. How are you doing?
I'm all right.
That's great. Yeah. Everyone, talk, chat, be merry. SVS crew represent and such.
Hi, Bailey.
Hello.
Oh, I have girls just want to have fun stuck in my head.
Why would you do that to yourself?
It was my roommate playing the song, and I was just like.
That sounds awful.
I like that song.
Hello.
Hello.
It's Elia.
How's it going? Hello, Elia.
Good.
Welcome.
Man, if we can get this many people like every week, I will be so happy.
How many people were last week?
More. I'm sure we'll get a few more coming in, but you know, when I first set it up, I was like, I might get one or two.
Oh right? No, I think everybody's really looking forward to these. These are exciting.
Yeah, these are
fun.
fun.
In a competition, Braden. Okay.
Cool. See, save that.
I was so bummed I missed last week's.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, sorry, the TV show. I got totally distracted, and I looked up and I was like, "Oh no, I missed it."
What show?
Oh, it was Tales from the Loop.
I haven't heard about that.
My husband found it when he started playing the first episode, and I was hooked because it's a weird sci-fi Twilight Zone-y kind of. I love that stuff.
Tales from the Loop. Cool. I'm gonna look that
I
up.
got stuck in the loop and missed the show.
You
Oh,
got
no.
trapped.
I did totally.
No. It is a danger. It really is. If I hadn't had another meeting just before this, I probably would have started watching Community or something.
I think I would have messaged you.
Brayden, what are you
All of
doing?
the things, one of them would have alerted you.
Yeah, fair enough. I am well within reach in many ways these days.
I've been watching very wholesome TV. I've been
What's that?
Midnight Diner, which is a very cute show on Netflix about this guy that works at a diner very late.
That sounds very wholesome.
It's very wholesome. He'll cook you whatever you want as long as he has the ingredients.
Oh.
It's fiction based on a manga, but it's really cute.
Man, I'm gonna have to check out Tales from the Loop. That looks right up my alley.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
What's it about?
It's like, I think it's set in the future, and there's like it's really hard to explain. It's very Twilight Zone-y, surrealistic. But so far we've watched 3 episodes, and each episode deals with one family or person in this town and things that they're discovering, and it's really interesting. If you like Twilight Zone and that kind of stuff, mystery, just weird phenomena stuff, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, oh, looks super cool.
Why do I have Brayden on here twice in my participants list?
Because I'm using 2 computers. I'm using my PC because it has both a headphone jack and a microphone jack, and I'm using my MacBook because that's what I use for work, but it has only a headphone jack. And there's much industry going on behind me, though you can't see it, and so I have no desire to have the sounds of people hammering paint cans shut and slamming doors and operating table saws in the background of this video. So,
Got it.
One
What is the raise hand button?
Yeah, that's a real good question.
It's where it just raises your hand and waves a little. It's like if you want, like with big meetings, you can be like, hey, I'd like to speak next, and you raise your hand.
Oh, nice. Someone press that button for me. I want to see.
What hand? Like, I don't have a camera. What is it?
Let's see.
Oh, it's a little digital hand that pops up on our screen.
Someone press the button. I want to see it.
I just clicked it, but it's not doing anything.
If you look at the participants now, we have 2 blue hands next to it. We raised our hands.
Brayden, would you mind being?
I'm gonna lower this because I can't see anything.
Of the
Maybe
chat.
click on down at the bottom of the participants.
I'm sorry. What was that, Aleksey?
I was wondering if you could be in charge of like questions and chat and stuff
Yes.
that I might miss.
I think this is my job, is to monitor the chat.
I appreciate that.
I will rebroadcast that at 1 o'clock when we start. Okay. Oh, I see the blue hand now. Okay, cool. I don't know why.
Where is it?
It's if you.
Oh,
look
in
at
the
your
chat
participants-
section.
Yeah, in the chat section. I was actually thinking it would be a literal cartoonish blue hand that waved across
Me
my screen
too.
or something.
No, it's not that exciting.
That would have
It's
been
just
more fun.
too discreet.
Utterly too discreet.
Am I not seeing the chat because I'm screen sharing?
I think so, yes.
Oh.
You might be able to exit full screen, but I'll keep an eye on the chat. Don't worry about it.
Oh,
You
there's
can
the chat.
also
Just draw
down
away.
at the bottom, you should have a little bar that has like invite participants, share screen, then chat. You can click on chat and it'll pop up as a window.
Oh, dude.
Yay.
Yeah,
Cool.
nice. Yeah, I've got the chat and participants on my second screen. It's another reason I'm using my MacBook as well as my work PC, because I've got more than one screen. Happy day.
You're
I
all
hope people
decked
have
out.
questions.
Beg your pardon?
I hope people have questions. This is gonna be
Oh,
great.
I'm sure people will have questions.
I promise
Procreate
I
is
will
just-
yammer many questions.
Please
Procreate
do.
is a strange arcane program, and it is.
It's actually like gotten way better than it used to be. I remember talking to this comic artist where before iPads and pencils, iPad Pros and Apple Pencils were a thing, he would draw everything with Procreate by hand with his finger.
Oh,
And he
Why
would
would
have to,
you
of
do
course,
that?
because like he needed to be on the go and couldn't afford a computer.
The sketchbook is made just for that purpose.
Yeah, but like he really liked it and he got really good at it. He just kept doing it. He got really good at it. And
Yeah.
so
I shouldn't judge. When I started, I learned to draw with a mouse.
I was gonna say, I was like,
That's what I'm still using.
mouse.
I remember those days.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have an Apple Pencil for my iPad because I still have an iPad Mini, and
Oh,
it's
Oh yeah.
compatible. So
When I
I
had an
haven't-
iPad Mini, I tried to find a stylus that actually worked. You know, those ones that have like that weird broad attachment on the end of them with a
Mhm.
swivel mount.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
those things were
Oh.
awful.
Do you have
I
any luck with
No.
that?
No, they're
I
terrible.
have a Wacom, the bamboo Wacom. It's just a regular stylus, but it's got a
Oh, I
Teflon
have that one.
nylon tip on it.
Yeah.
It's pretty great, but it's small. It's not like super big like a cheapo stylus. It's
Well, that's good.
it's not too bad. Better than my
Aleksey, I don't.
Awesome. Yeah, as soon as
Aleksey, I don't.
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, unrelated.
Oh,
Mhm.
fair enough. I was just gonna
I was
say.
gonna say,
Okay, you go.
Aleksey, I'm creeping on your apps, and the app that you use for the spells is the same one I use. It's a good app
For what? Sorry.
for the D&D spells.
Oh yeah,
what
it's
app do
just
you
in
use?
there. This one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's D&D Spell 5e.
Oh, nice. Very
It's just
cool.
a database of all the spells. You can have one character saved with the spells,
Okay.
but if you want more, you have to like pay. But I just use it to reference spells, so I don't have to keep searching for it.
I just use the D&D Grimoire. It's got all the spells sorted by
What?
class or level.
Yeah, this has the two filters: class.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome.
I
Okay,
don't
well,
know what any of this is, but anyway, back
it's 1
to the
o'clock.
thing we were doing.
So I think we will get going, and I'll just put a note in the video when I upload it to YouTube that we start talking about stuff about 10 minutes in. So, as for last time, thank you for coming out. This was really fun last time, and thanks, Aleksey, for showcasing some Procreate for us today. It's going to be
No
pretty
problem.
awesome, too.
Thank you.
So this is a free-for-all. If you want to say something, say something. Let's just chat and have fun. If you have questions, comments, anything like that, feel free to ask the master as he shows us something.
Nasty.
Try to keep it on topic, but you know, things devolve and we start talking about spacebound hamsters or something, then who cares? One thing you can do is if you're not talking, just mute yourself. It'll cut down on background noise. Okay, and with that, so Aleksey, what are you going to show us today?
Hi, everybody. Okay, so first I'm going to start off with just explaining a resource for everybody so that if there's stuff I didn't cover that might help you, or if you wanted to like freshen up on it and I didn't explain it very well, Procreate has a lot of resources. So if you go to your iBooks or whatever, you can just search Procreate, and it's the first book that'll pop up when you're looking for.
Oh, nice. So that's in
This is
like iBooks?
Yeah,
can't
this
be
is
an
the
iBook.
official book. Oh, there's an update. Cool.
Neat. That is one thing I love about Procreate is they're like very open with their how do you do this? You do it this way. Here's a video. Here's a tutorial.
They've also got a website. I think it's procreate.art. I think they're an Australian company, very small, but exclusively for iPads.
Yeah,
And
someone was just about to say something.
Yeah.
Who was that? Oh, maybe not. All right, continue.
Okay. So they also have a website. The website has a thing where you can make a profile, you can update upload your art, you can ask people questions on their forums. There's a lot of free brushes people made before like shapes were a thing. I just downloaded a bunch of free shape brushes and stuff like that from them. So yeah, there's also a website. There are tutorials on there too. But so Procreate is this app here. Oopsie, drag it out. This one looks like a paintbrush, a paint stroke rather. Put it back. Also, if anyone has any questions on like devices or anything like that, when it comes to using this app, you can totally ask that as well. So when you open it up, it takes you to this gallery view, and you can see a bunch of stuff already here. It lets you stack your art. So if you wanted to, you can just drag your art over another one, and it'll put it in a little folder. You can name your art. I have a bunch of untitled artwork. because I never name my art. Oh no, there's one, prop design 1. But you can do that as well. You can tap on photo in the top right corner and import a photo from your library. You can import a photo. Oh, sorry, message popped up. You can import a photo or a file from your Drive, your iCloud, or whatever. If you have Google Drive, I think it lets you do that as well. But yeah, so that's the main gallery. To create a new piece of paper, you just go to the plus sign in the top right. There's different sizes that they gave you. The 2 on the bottom, or 3 on the bottom, or 4, I don't know. I made myself. To make a new one, you just tap on this little plus sign where it says new canvas. To the right of that, there's a little plus sign. If you tap on that,
There's a question in the chat.
Oh yes,
Thank you.
please.
Why would you stack?
Oh, like for example, I have all of the spaceship ones in one folder. Just keep it organized. You don't have
Thanks. I was sending a link to someone else in the SVS forum there for a moment.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, Ness says all the pieces in the book could be a stack.
Yeah, you can, like the thing I was doing for this month, I also put in a stack. Art for work I did. Just to keep it organized.
Yeah.
Like folders.
Just a heads up, Zoom may kick us out at 40 minutes. They were happy to extend the previous one, not so much this one. Next time they may have a different program for this. So continue. We may end abruptly.
Cool. I'm also okay to going beyond 40 minutes if you want. And you know.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying the program's gonna end it
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah. Okay, back to this. Any other questions so far?
Nope, not at all. Not in the chat anyway.
So when you push the little button on the right next to new canvas, it opens up a little menu where you can put in the dimensions for your canvas. So you can do width, height in pixels. You can also do inches, centimeters, or millimeters. If you want something that's really tiny, you can do millimeters. I'll let you know this is all raster. There's no vector in this app. So if you're trying to make graphics, I would not recommend this app. But yeah, you can specify the DPI, dots per inch. You can increase it just by typing it. So one thing I want you to be aware of is that if you're making a large project, notice how the amount of layers you can use has decreased. So it won't let you make files as big as Photoshop because I don't think the iPads can handle it as well.
I'm not surprised.
So yeah, there's one thing to keep in mind, but you can export Photoshop files and put them on your computer if you want to continue working on it.
Which model is this one?
This is the 9.7-inch iPad Pro that's from like 4 years ago.
Got it. Yeah, because it's like I noticed that like mine, I don't have the iPad Pro. At that level, I can do 9 layers.
Yeah. Exactly. Their new iPad/iPad Airs are actually a little bit better than my current iPad Pro. And cheaper they are now than they were when I bought this. So I'm a little mad about that. But
how big do you normally work?
I prefer to work bigger, but I work with what I have. I have a 13-inch Wacom screen thing, but I haven't been able to set it up because I just moved and I haven't been able to unpack because.
Oh, like I meant like canvas size.
Oh, good question. I haven't really had any need for anything bigger than 8.5 by 11. So I have this 8.5 by 11 at 350 DPI. But I made 11, well, I was supposed to be inches. I made a mistake on this one. You can do 11 by 17 if you're doing. So let's do that. With 11, 17, there, 4 layers. So that's not really very good. No. Good for sketches. So implementation.
Oh, you're getting a little robot-y there, bud.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, interesting. Aleksey may have dropped out.
Uh-oh. He froze.
May have.
No.
Lame. All right. Well, I'm sure he'll get a hold of me in a moment. Oh gosh. So
Oh,
did
maybe
anyone?
somebody post in the chat. He might not
Oh,
realize he could
he's
still
not
be
frozen.
talking.
That's a very good point. I will post in the chat. Aleksey, we cannot hear you. Oh yes, I'm still here, everyone, but no one can hear me. Okay, cool.
Well, I think we just heard you now.
Test.
There we go. We can hear you now.
There it is.
Cool.
I was just about to say,
So,
let's think of
what
some
was the
questions
last
after
thing
we
you
get
heard me say?
back. Just keep going, man.
Okay.
Get
Well,
into it.
The thing where you're limited by the amount of layers you can make with a bigger project, the way I work around that is I do all my rough sketches in like the standard screen size.
Ah, nice. And then you flatten them.
Yeah, and then I just copy the layer to a nice new, and then expand it because you can make it bigger. And then so this is a new piece of paper. You can flip it around. You can zoom in and out. So I have it oriented to the opposite side of my screen because I'm left-handed. So you have a couple of things. So up here, whoopsie, you have brushes.
Mm-hmm.
The little blue paintbrush. They give you a bunch to begin with. Like they give you all of these. It just comes with the app.
Yeah.
You
My
can't
big
delete any
question-
of them. Yeah,
My big
please.
question would be, is it worth it to pay for brushes in this program? Because I know there's a bunch of like third-party packs that are like watercolor brushes, 20 some odd bucks.
Sometimes. Depends
Sometimes.
on the brushes. Like I have gotten brushes from my friends for free because I work at the Apple store.
Oh,
and
fair enough.
everyone tries this app and they just send the brushes to everyone else with AirDrop.
Okay.
So if you find an artist that has really nice brushes, I only bought like a set of 8 brushes once. It was like $2. It was fine, you know. $2 is nothing. And they were fine. I messed with them a little bit, and I'll show you how to do that stuff. So these
I
brushes.
broke down and bought the Max Pack watercolor brushes and put them on my husband's iPad because his is way better than mine, which is
How do you find them? Are they worth it to you?
yeah. I'm dying to have my own iPad Pro soon so that I can actually use them on a regular basis.
Take
Oh,
all
very
I
the-
nice.
use the Max Pack too. I have the Max Pack gouache and watercolor. They're great. They're really, really nice.
I'll look into that.
I will as well.
Yeah, if anyone wants to send me that pack, you can certainly do that. I will send you what I have.
Deal.
Is it piracy if you don't charge for it?
No, you don't have to charge for anything.
Hilarious.
Anyway, so you'll know that the brush was not in the app with this little weird. You see how this one here has a little squiggly line?
Yeah, it's
The
got the
ones
little
with the
Procreate symbol.
Yeah, so it has that symbol, and that means it's not one of the brushes that came with the app. So you can delete those, so be careful. I always duplicate it if I want to mess around with it, so you can slide and duplicate the brush.
Yeah, that's what I do too.
Yeah, it's the best method. But with all the original ones, you can reset them. So if you tap on one of them, it brings up this menu. There's a lot of stuff in here. If anyone has a specific question about something in here, I'll try to explain it.
Oh man,
my knowledge.
Honestly enough, the thing I do is just change a setting, see what it does.
Yeah, that's the
Reset
best
it.
way to do it.
Change a setting, see what it does.
Excuse me?
Reset it.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, this is Mara. I don't see anything. I just see Aleksey is black.
That's interesting. Does anyone else have that problem?
No, I can see the
No.
screen.
Are you on a
Okay.
phone, an iPad, a computer?
Computer.
Okay. Are you able to change the little icons and how you're seeing people?
I see Brandon and the rest are black. I see
Yeah.
Brandon.
Oh, do
Yeah.
you mean at the top,
Yeah.
the squares where our names are?
Yeah.
Not all of us have our cameras connected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, but
You don't see the
Aleksey's
screen
black.
at all.
So do you? But you don't see
I
any.
only see his name.
So you don't see what he's drawing right now.
No.
Okay.
Here, let me try this. I'm gonna stop sharing,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna go to share again, and I'm gonna do share.
Sure. If that works, it works. If it doesn't, we may have to continue. And I'm sorry, Mara, you may have to watch.
Yes.
You got it.
Perfect.
Happy day.
Yes. Thank you.
When in
no
doubt,
worries.
reset it. Okay,
Okay.
so you have this screen when you tap on one of the brushes, it brings up this menu.
Yeah.
The way the brushes are made is from a shape and a grain, and that over here on the left side, this is the shape that it's made from, and this is the texture within that shape. So it's the same principle like Braden was showing with like the texture you put over your drawing.
So it's like a Photoshop brush. You got the texture
essentially
in the brush.
Yeah. So if for a simpler brush, I can go to airbrushing. You have a soft brush with a soft feathery circle, and the grain is just a solid white color.
Yeah.
So
something I like to do is just take pictures of random textures and import them and see what they do.
Yeah. Anyone have any specific questions on the brushes?
I think we can move on from brush settings and stuff like that. I would love to see you what you like to use when you're making stuff. Like
okay.
Hey, really quick.
Sure.
I'm gonna post a link to my Dropbox, which has the Max Pack brushes in it.
Sweet.
I don't know if we should endorse that kind of thing.
I'm only gonna have it.
There are no rules.
I'm only gonna have it up there for one day, so
Like-
anybody in this thing can get it.
I want it. I'm gonna go on record saying I'm gonna download that.
Like the great thing about Procreate is they want people to share everything. They don't really like having everything private.
And I think if you like Max Pack's brushes, you can actually go back and donate to him. So
yeah,
I think there's a way if you feel guilty, which I know I yes, I would normally not endorse this either, but
yeah. How about this? Next time,
I want you to like me. No, I'm just kidding.
next time, send me a private message and I'll send you the link. How about that?
There you go.
Yes,
This
I
is
think that's a
peer
better way to do
pressure.
it.
Okay. So I didn't have any plans specifically on what I was going to draw, but I guess we could try to color one of the spaceships.
Sure. Yeah, let's see. I have a real hard time finding brushes that I like. Whenever I try to sit down and draw in Procreate, I just spend all my time messing around with brushes. I don't actually draw anything. I'm like,
Yeah.
I need something for flat color. Oh, not this one. Not this one. Oh, maybe there's something online. Right.
So here's my page of the spaceship roughs. I am not organizing this at all because I don't care. But you can group things. So I've grouped every spaceship into its own thing. I should name them so I know where what is. But the way to group is, so you have let's say these three layers here.
Yeah.
Boop, 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 boop. They're all the same spaceship design. So you tap on one, and then you slide your finger on the other ones you want to group, and just tap group.
Yep. I do love the grouping system in Procreate.
Yeah, it's great. Let's see. So disorganized here.
So you have multiple spaceships in the same.
Yeah. So I use this one as like the page where I do all the thumbnails and the rough sketches, and then I take one of them. So let's say I'm going to take this one. You can tap on it, and you can get a bunch of layer options essentially, and you can copy the whole layer. And then when I go to gallery, I'll make a new layer. Let's do the nice high-res one. And to paste it, you swipe on the screen downward with 3 fingers. This is the thing about Procreate. There's a lot of hand gestures you can do, and it pulls up this menu.
I do love that you can customize the hand gestures too.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And so you have this thing where it's like transformation tool, which is a little arrow that looks like a mouse cursor. That's what that button does.
Yeah.
So it selects the whole layer, and you can resize it, you can turn it, you can, if I go to freeform, I can squish it.
Warp it. Yeah.
Yeah. You can distort it, so if you wanted to put this in perspective, you could kind of.
Yeah, that's the tool that I really like to use.
Mess.
That
with
is
it.
super handy.
It looks awful though, if it, because it's just a little drawing, but you can mess with it now.
What's the difference between distort and warp?
Warp. Let me undo. To undo, you just tap with 2 fingers on the screen. If you go to warp, it gives you this, and you can just push things around.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Undo. Oops. Redo.
No, there we go.
Yeah. So with undoing, you have the arrow. Whoops, I always do that. You have the arrows here, but you can just tap on the screen with 2 fingers to undo, 3 fingers to redo.
Yeah, I can.
Sometimes I find myself tapping on paper because that's so easy.
Always tap.
Always.
Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Left-handed.
Okay, got it.
And one thing, like all of these, like the smudgy tool with this little finger icon and the eraser tool, they all have access to the same brushes, so you can smudge and erase in the same textures.
That's my favorite part of this program.
Me too, man. As soon as I figured that out, it was just mind-blowing.
Size. There's a color picker installed. You can just hold your finger down on the screen and just move this circle around on the color you want to get. So if you're like, oh crap, I forgot to save that color, you can just do that.
There's a limit to the number of colors in the palette you can use, isn't there?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go to the colors. That's the most complicated thing I find people struggling with is the color menu. Yeah. So in the top rightmost corner, you have your little color circle. When you tap on it, it pulls up this. You have your color wheel. So the outside ring is your hue of colors, and the inside circle is the different tints and shades of it. Am I using the right terminology? I don't care.
Sure.
Let's go with that. You have disc mode, which is what I'm on now, and under that you always have a palette that is set that you can tapping on palettes on the bottom right corner. If you tap there, these are palettes. I've been messing around a lot with colors because of that color video, just playing around. But you can make a bunch of palettes. I don't think there's a limit on how many palettes.
You've gone all robot-y once more. Yeah, I tried to get the palette I use into a single palette in Procreate. There are way too many colors, so I just copy and pasted an image onto my canvas. That's a layer, and I just turn it on and off. All right, so I'm pretty sure Aleksey can still hear us. We just can't hear him, so he's going to fix it again. Oh, right, Lisa, the color video we were talking about was Simona Signorelli's YouTube color series. I will post a link because she's got a really simple way of getting harmonized colors, and it's fantastic. Here we go. I'll post number 2, and you can
you still see my screen?
There we go. We cannot see your screen anymore, but we can hear you.
Looks like it's trying to connect again.
Let's see.
Oh, there we go. Start screen sharing. All right, I posted in the chat, Lisa. Yeah, it's really cool.
Thank you.
Her method of picking color palette is I'm just gonna pick random choice of these colors that I think I like, and then I'm gonna put this color over top of an overlay or a multiply or a low opacity default, and it'll harmonize it, and I'll go from there. It's super simple, but it works.
Yeah, I think I watched that video once. I have to go back and look at it again.
Yeah, I had to go back to look at it too. It didn't sink in the first time. Oh, well, I'm sorry to say that we may be plagued by technical difficulties.
You think because it's on iPad?
It might be because we're on iPad. It might be because Zoom has, I think it's like 100 times the number of participants going on these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The internet's just broken right now.
Yeah. They're doing a great job keeping up, but I'm pretty sure once in a while, things just ain't gonna work.
Yep.
Yeah, it's hard to
So
build
here's just
server
kind of like a.
Aha! We see it.
Are you good? All right.
We're good.
Yeah, I
Hello.
can see it.
Okay. So,
Continue.
I really like this new feature, Harmony.
Oh, yeah.
This is my favorite. If you tap where it says split complementary, you can select the kind of colors you want to work with. So, like, if you just do complementary, and you're like, what's the complementary to this one? And it'll be like that one. You can play with the brightness.
Yep. It is
Great.
super cool.
And yeah, there's dramatic, analogous, etc., etc. If you have a value you want to put in because you've been using it on Photoshop, you can just type it in here. There's X values. Okay. Any questions on colors?
Not for
How
me.
do you color?
How do I color?
Show us
That
how
is
you
the
color.
best question because I'm not very good at the colors.
You have 1 minute. Go.
Okay. I like to use this flat brush after watching that coloring video because it's got pressure sensitivity. So like you can make light to medium to dark
Oh, yeah.
single stroke. It's great. But from what I understand, since I already did this, I'm just gonna go to that spaceship.
Sure.
Let's try.
Yeah, I think all of us here struggle with color.
Very, very much so.
So here's some cool tricks I'm going to show you with how I color using this app. Not specifically about coloring, but more like things you can do when you're coloring.
Yeah, trick us up.
So you can drop a color in to a space by dragging it out. So like if you want to color in this, you want to color in that.
And it
Is that
basically
on the
uses
same-
closed areas.
Yeah, is that
Yeah.
on the same layer as your line
Yes.
art?
So this is
Okay.
the same layer as mine. If you want to put it on a different layer, when you
Okay.
tap on your layer, you tap reference. So every
Yeah.
other layer,
Oh,
Uh-huh.
that's so
reference.
cool.
That is a really, yeah, I love that
Yeah.
feature.
All of the lines are now as if it's in the other layer. So you can see it's in a different layer. But I also hate that because if I have inked it like this, there's tiny little lines that are
You can
white
change the
right
sensitivity
now,
of the
and I'm
build
just like, I
tool,
hate.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
you can. So if I drag it and I hold it down on a space,
Mhm.
top it says color drop threshold. I can, while I'm holding it down, I didn't let go of my pencil. I can drag this to increase how much it ignores lines.
Mhm.
But you know, it goes to like 99.6, and then it just bleeds everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's still not perfect. So my method is, what I do instead of reference layer is I go to the little S shape right here, the little squiggly line next to the arrow, and instead of freehand, this is a selection tool, so you can select like, you know, areas, and then you can do that.
Yeah.
But instead, I go to automatic, and I tap outside my line work.
Oh, that's way easier.
And then
Shoot.
there's a button on the bottom you see where it says invert. It'll just select the inside.
What?
And
Right?
then when you tap on freehand, it's selected for you.
Dark
Huh.
Procreate voodoo magic.
And you see how it's gonna just stay there regardless of what layer you tap on?
Okay, wait, I'm gonna need this in like written format.
Sure.
What kind of secrets we're
I
all
need
here
the
for?
transcript to this, please.
It is being recorded.
It is.
Yeah, the book.
Yes, great.
But I'll do it one more time. You go to the selection tool, you go to automatic,
Yep.
you tap outside the lines, and then you just tap invert. Now, the automatic thing, you can also select the threshold, so you can, like if that little flower at the top is like,
Oh, I see. Yep.
adjust the automatic. But once you tap on it and you let go, that is a selection. So
Mm-hmm.
I can tap here, but if I want to do it again, it's not really going to do much.
Now, does this
Oh, yeah.
only work if you have perfectly enclosed lines?
Yeah,
Okay.
you got to have the lines enclosed. That's why everything is a solid line in these. Because
Yeah.
this is easier.
I have a question.
Yes.
Go ahead.
How come when you inverted it, it ignored the black lines and made all the white space inside? Why didn't it just cover all the black lines too, like a
because,
solid inverted shape?
When I was selecting, I was still on the layer where the drawing is.
That's right. We're not painting anything right now. This is just the
Yeah.
selection tool.
But after I select it, it's going to keep.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to go to the other layer, and it's keeping that selection.
Mm-hmm.
And I can just tap here.
I think it was just confusing because it was blue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looked like we filled it with color for a moment.
Yep.
This app is like, hey, you're using this bizarre blue now. This is how you know you're not actually painting.
But what if I like bizarre blue?
Then you're in trouble.
Oh, well, fair enough.
So
Well, okay.
you can do this. Another thing is you can hold the little squiggly line down again. Just keep holding it, and it'll pop up with that same selection that you made previously. Like it'll save it if you hold it down. Do you guys get that?
Yep.
But how is that useful?
Because it's useful. Because let's say I had something else up here. Whoopsie. Let me go to freehand. I had something else up here, like, I don't know, debris or like asteroids. I can go ahead and add that to the selection.
So you can go back and edit it
Yeah.
after the fact.
And now they added this new feature on the bottom where it says save and load.
Oh,
You can save your
nice.
selection.
Yeah, that's nice.
I love it.
This is,
Okay.
yeah, super cool.
Was that helpful?
Very helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, let me talk to you about Alpha Lock.
Ah, yes, the other tool you do need to know about.
This is great.
Continue.
So I'm going to get rid of the lines just so that I can demo this. I'm going to tap on the layer with the color in it, really weird poop brown. And I'm going to tap on Alpha Lock. So you see how in the layer, it looks a little like pixels around it?
We got the checkerboard behind the shape.
So the reason that's useful, let me pick like an orange, is it won't paint outside the pixels that are already in that layer.
Yep.
So if you wanted to color in that thing that you just filled in without messing up, without having to worry about going outside the lines, you can do that. I find this effective if you are using an airbrush. Where's airbrush?
Yeah, or like something super blendy.
Yeah, and you could just do, oops, do that bigger.
Question, if
Yes.
you want to paint your new color on another layer, can you like reference that lock layer? Would that work?
Can you ask it one more time?
You know, earlier you referenced a different layer.
Yeah.
Can you do that here? Like if you want to paint your new color on a different layer, could you create a different layer, reference this one, and would it still be like
Good question.
alpha lock thing?
I think clipping mask is what she's asking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do clipping mask. So if you tap on it, you can just do clipping mask.
Oh, there is a clipping mask.
Yeah.
There is.
You gotta
Yeah, it always references the, like, so you can lock the alpha channel on one layer and then use clipping mask on the layer above it.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit more useful, in my opinion, than Photoshop in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Photoshop has clipping mask too.
It does. It just, I like the way this organizes it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
The
Continue,
other thing
Aleksey.
you can do is if you just tap on the layer with your colors in it and select that. So
Mhm.
at the top, there's a selection option. You get that selection again and then make a new layer on top of it. But don't get rid of the selection, and then you can go in and paint over it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Yeah, there's several options to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
I really don't like this brown though, so I'm going to delete that.
It is very poopy.
Poop brown.
It's very sick
What
baby
color
poop.
should I choose for this spaceship?
Not sick baby poop.
Let's do
Teal.
that.
Teal.
teal. Which one? They're both the same, I think. I accidentally saved it twice. There you go.
Ooh,
And now you can pull that back up,
tealy.
and you can do alpha lock. I'm not very good at coloring, so I did not expect to be actually
It is
working on this.
all good. No worries. You do you. We'll silently judge you.
Actually, I want you guys to let me know, because I am so bad at coloring. Let me know, like, hey, why don't you try this? This might work better. Like, tell
Fair
me
enough.
if that's what you want. But
Do
I'm
you
gonna
paint
put
all
it.
your colors on the same layer?
Typically, I put all my local colors in one layer
Okay.
because
Local
of how like
Yeah, local color is the color an object actually is.
Oh, I'm learning new things.
It's a good
but
term.
like because it's solid, I'm just going to do reference, and then I'm just gonna go. Oopsie.
Oh yeah, super handy for coloring those little fiddly line bits. That's what that fill tool is awesome for,
Hmm.
It is great.
especially with this kind of line art.
And if anybody has any other questions while I'm doing this, please ask.
So for this to work, you had to reference your, oh no, you don't have to, because your teal color doesn't include the lines.
Correct.
Right.
That's
So I had to just reference the original lines.
right. So you
That's
don't
all.
have to use your line art anymore at all.
Right.
Cool.
So like if I take this away, the app still thinks that I'm trying to reference those lines.
Mhm.
Oh,
Know
cool.
what I'm looking at, but it's still there.
I think that's kind of neat.
So
Yeah.
if you went back to that layer 2 and turned reference off, then that would all go away? Is that
What I did,
or does it only affect the layer below it?
it affects every layer.
Okay. So
Every layer.
if reference is turned on, you can reference on any single layer that you have made.
It references only one layer at a time, so it'll only look at the one that you so like it'll in this case
But
it'll
you can
only look at the line.
Yeah,
but you can paint on all those layers using that reference.
Yeah, but reference only works with color drop. Painting, I can still go in here and like I can still paint regardless of whether or not
Oh,
reference is on.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, the other thing that actually helped me with this when I was making it was here under canvas you have this button for drawing guide. If I go to edit drawing guide, so you have options on the kind of guide you want to have.
Perspective.
Yeah, there's isometric, which is great. I love isometric. I'm actually very curious on how to make that work.
D&D maps, it's great.
D&D maps, they're great for D&D maps.
I just like making little isometric towns.
Oh yeah, it's so nice. So fun.
Yeah. Little game towns.
Yeah.
Symmetry is great because you can choose how you want it to be symmetrical. Like it'll put what you draw in every one of these quadrants.
Oh, is that how people do their mandala drawings?
Yeah, radial. If you do radial, it'll just
Yeah.
if I go to perspective, you can tap on where you want the vanishing points to be and drag them around.
That is nice. How many vanishing points are you allowed to have?
3.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not very good at fisheye.
No curvilinear perspective for us.
No. You have to
Fair
make
enough.
that yourself.
Still.
Yeah. But
Still
one
super
thing to keep in
cool.
mind is after you set this, you can do drawing assist. So you see how it says assisted?
Mm-hmm.
So that means on this layer only right now, the lines will all follow.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah, that's where you can make the little towns and stuff exactly perfect. And people
Yeah.
are always like, how do you do that? And you're like,
technology.
That
Oh
is
Just
my
be so great.
god.
But of course,
cool.
if you draw the line and you're like, I need it to be like diagonal. If you keep holding it, you don't
Yeah.
let go, you can drag this.
Oh, nice.
Now let me
Jeez.
turn that off really quick.
I wasn't sold on Procreate, but now I am.
Yeah, I
So-
think it's gotten to the point where it's professional now.
Yeah, it's great. What I really loved is these curved lines were such a nightmare to do freehand.
Mhm.
Let me turn off this grid. You
We
can
may-
actually
We may end abruptly in 1 minute.
no restart me if that's what happens.
No, like the meeting will end in 1 minute, most likely.
You
Like-
can restart it though if you just
Oh,
make
can
a new meeting really fast. If you want to.
Restart, what do you mean by making you what now?
You just if you just create a new meeting
Oh, yeah.
and just invite people to it, create a link and post it, we can log in. It's not like you only get one meeting per day. It just cuts you off and then you just restart.
Okay,
Cool.
I'll post a
Yep.
link in the Facebook group when that happens.
But I
Right.
think you guys started at least 5 minutes early and it's still not cut off, so it's a good sign.
That
It
is a
did
good
put up a little notification saying the host extended the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did work.
Host, are you aware that you extended the meeting?
Well, it gave me a notification saying, we cannot extend your meeting again. Your session will end in 40 minutes.
Oh.
So maybe they extended anyways? Let's just keep
Maybe-
going.
maybe
Let's see what
because-
happens.
Maybe because you extended it successfully the first time, that you clicked again and it didn't want to do it again.
I didn't extend anything. It told me it would not extend it.
All right, guys, we're in for a surprise. Living on the edge.
Let's see what happens.
Yay!
I'm on the edge.
Show
Alright,
us that
so-
curve thing again.
So show us the curve thing
Okay.
again. Please, please, please.
So the great thing is, if you want to make a straight line, you just hold it down and you can manipulate the line. If you let go, a little thing at the top will show up that says edit shape, and you can drag the points around. But after you do this, you cannot go back to that same line.
Okay.
But you can do polyline. Oh, this one isn't really good for polyline. So let me undo this. Go away. But you can also do curved, so arcs. You can manipulate that. So this was super helpful in making the spaceships because it's a nightmare to make these curves digitally.
But
Mhm.
Nice.
can this only work because it's vector?
It's
Procreate is
vec-
not vector.
It
Yeah,
has to
it's-
be.
It's definitely pixel.
Yeah, it's definitely raster.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
maybe
all
when you export, but the making of it,
I don't think it's vector. I think
No.
it's pushing pixels
It'll
around.
be pixel full on.
It's possible it stays in that format while you're creating the line, and then once
Yeah.
you let go, it rasterizes it.
that
That makes
must be
So
it.
once I make this, right now it's still vector because I can manipulate it.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Sorry,
'Cause
I
there's no loss
misunderstood.
of quality at all.
Yeah.
So it's like using the pen tool in Photoshop.
Right.
Yeah. My apologies.
You can
I
also
misunderstood.
do this for like one thing I want to show you, like if this you know how this inking pens have like the ebbing, you have the nice tapered edges or ends. It'll keep that when you're doing the arcs, so it still kept the nice tapering. So that was very helpful. So like if I push down and then I smooth it out, it'll keep it on. It'll keep the line weights that you put in.
Oh, interesting.
You can also do squares.
You know, I'm zooming in on mine, and even with the points in here, I'm definitely seeing the pixels, even though I'm manipulating them.
Yeah. So
I think it's just a hybrid.
I think
could
you
be.
might be right. Because are you using a pen brush right now, or is this a function of the shape tool?
I'm using a pen brush to make.
So could
the
you
shape.
do this with like another brush, like a paintbrush or something?
Yeah, you could do any. You can even do it with an eraser.
I think it is definitely pixel.
And maybe it is only manipulated by the 9 points that we could see on screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of brushes, Aleksey, have you shown your favorites?
I have not, but let me do that.
Yeah.
Real quick, one thing
Please.
on that, if you guys want to use it, is if you're doing circles and stuff,
Oh yeah.
and you use the second finger to tap, it'll make a perfect circle. So
Ooh.
that's something to really, use if you want it to be that way.
Circle dance.
Dance, dancing, dancing, dancing.
Yeah. So if you did this, you made like the ellipse, and you're like, I want a perfect circle. You can just put your finger down. Well, no, in this case it'll be a perfect.
Yeah, it'll do a
ellipse.
perfect ellipse, And then, like, if it's closer to a circle, it'll do a circle, and if it's closer to an ellipse, it'll do an ellipse.
But when you let go and do edit shape, you can totally.
Yeah.
Dark Procreate voodoo.
Now I'm curious, how many of you feel like, so I've heard two camps where some people really like this super, super clean, perfect ellipse, perfect arc illustrations. And I've heard other people argue that like it takes the hand out of the artwork, and you know, they are saying not to use like the perspective tool in Procreate because it'll make it too perfect. And I'm wondering what people's thoughts are.
You
Like,
should tell
how
them
you
to
like
stop
to-
using rulers.
I think it all depends on what they're going for. I mean,
Shots fired.
people have been chasing that perfect looking straight line with perfect perspective forever, and they were doing it well before digital. So I don't think there's anything wrong with using a computer to assist you in that look.
Yeah.
I think
Like-
you'd have to engineer literally every line for that to be a problem.
I think if that's the look you want, then do that. And if it
Yeah.
isn't
I
the
also
look
don't
you
like
want,
it when people like
Oh.
criticize others for like using a tool that is at your disposal to get.
Right.
That's how I felt.
But
But-
I use vector in my work, and it does look like very perfect,
Hmm.
Mhm.
clear cut. But you know, that's a look.
Yeah, but so what? Like, if you like that look, who cares?
Go for it.
I feel like my preference changes between the two every other day.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree.
The other thing is like when
Depends
you're
on what you're
drawing.
working on.
Sorry.
For me, it just depends on what I'm working on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If I want it
Exactly.
hard or soft or.
With iPads, I find I have a screen protector on it that is like textury, specifically because the screen was too smooth, and it
Yeah.
was driving me insane. Even with the screen protector, it's still too smooth.
Oh, I bought a special kind of screen protector. It's called a paper feel screen protector,
Yeah.
and it's nice and toothy. It feels so nice.
I'll post the one that I use. I use the paper like.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Paper light.
Oh, okay. Here, I'll post the thing in the chat.
Please do.
Yeah, I've never
That's
tried it,
fantastic.
but I just bought the $7 one on Amazon. It was fine.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
I bet anything with texture is going to be good. I had the paper like 1, and then I switched to the paper like 2, and it's definitely better on the 2.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it like a really solid protective screen though?
Yeah, it
Oh, really?
it is. I can't, like, I tested the corners with my keys, and I couldn't scratch it.
Oh, it's
Oh,
scratchy.
nice. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, it's not like a Gorilla Glass.
No, if
whatever
you
the
drop
heck,
it, it's
light
still going to
proof
do what
case.
it's going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Anywho, so what brush is this, and why is it awesome?
This one I really like because let me compare it with the inking brush that they give you. So
Yeah, that's part of what that's one of my things in Procreate is chasing that perfect comic brush.
So they've improved their brushes a little bit, but the technical pen, here it is. So this is the one that came with the app. And when I use it, if you zoom in, you see that it's like kind of feathered. It's a little
Yeah.
pixelated. But if I use the one I like, it's a little more solid at
Okay.
the edges. And that's why I like this one more.
And you made this one, or you downloaded this one?
I think I downloaded it and then messed with it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to mess with that one, let me just delete this one because I hate that one.
I bet the fact that it's like crisper, that works better with the selection too.
Yeah,
with the fill
definitely.
tools. Mm-hmm.
But if I tap on this and I go to the shape, it's feathered. I can totally just hit edit. Wait, actually, there should be some shapes that came with this. This app I know has shapes built in.
Is it where you import and it has some in there?
Yeah,
Yeah, source library. That's it.
So these shapes come with the app. So if I want a solid circle, if I want one of these other textures, so there we go, hard circle.
Yeah.
An oval. Let's try this. Done. It'll keep everything else. It's a little bit better, but it's still got that featheriness.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
that's good. That actually
Yeah.
is really nice. I might use that.
Ooh, that's super nice and crisp.
So this is what I do. I find a brush that has really nice feedback, like how I control it, and then I just swap the shape out or something because I don't like the featheriness or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can play around with it.
Super
The
cool.
other brushes that I use, so the
Yeah.
inking one. I also downloaded, this came in a set with all these other ones too. So this one's like a nice watery, it feels like it's wet. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
It's got like that dry brush edge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Nice.
I like that. That's nice.
There's the
Very
brush
pretty.
pen. It looks a little bit more like what a wet brush pen would be like. This one's fun. Fat feathers. It's got that on both sides sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also tilt sensitive. So if you're, what I'm doing here, I'm tilting my brush. It changes the dynamic. So if I put it on the side, it kind of feels more like a dry brush, like that. But I'm tilting my pencil to the side, like 45 degrees, and it's doing that.
Nice. Yeah, that's one thing I like about Procreate is that it's got the tilt sensitivity. Well, I guess the iPad does.
Yeah. I don't know. They both do something, some technology stuff.
Yeah.
Monoline is good because it's always consistent.
It also has smoothing, doesn't it?
It does have smoothing, which you can turn off and on. So it's called Streamline. So this is the bar here.
Okay.
So if you want to make it a little stickier, it'll like stick to the I don't know if you can see how it's sticking.
Oh yeah.
It's probably more pronounced on Zoom since it's a little bit behind.
Yeah. But if I turn that off, it's going to be really loose and it'll feel all the little minor things in your hand. Fine tip I like because it's just teeny tiny. You can make it even teenier, and it's good if you're just making, little doodles. This one has a nice grain. This is what I use for penciling because it's got some opacity to it and got some texture. You can adjust the opacity using this, so if you want it to be even more see-through, you could do that.
Nice.
This is cool. I discovered this recently. Where was it? I think it was in. Trying to find out. There's this thing you can do to make it. Here it is. You can change the way it paints and how it feels using these features.
Ooh.
Intense blending. What is that?
It appears to blend intensely.
So intense.
Such intensity.
Ah.
Super stamp.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can totally show you the texture thing as well.
Yes, texture us.
So, texture. Let's put this back so that we can see stuff. So I have a bunch of brushes that a friend gave to me, and these are all really weird, cool designs. Let's pick one of them. Let's do this one, brush hedge. I already made these grays, but I think with the textures, it uses black and white instead of grays, but
okay.
If I can maximize the size. Then make white. No, that doesn't look good, does it? Actually, that looks kind of fun.
Ooh. Oh, that's interesting.
Let's see what happens. I'm gonna do the same thing that Brayden does. I'm gonna go here. Oh, so for blending modes, next to the check mark, there's a little N that means normal mode, but you can change the blend modes using. Oh, that's kind of cool. Was it overlay, right? Yeah. So you can do that.
Oh,
That's actually really cool.
That's nice. Yeah, I think it gives a nice mottled steel look.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure where you were going with this, but this looks cool.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can adjust the opacity. So if this is too much, you can like, I'm gonna decrease it a little bit.
Yeah, you could use other other layer commands
Mm-hmm.
to play with it.
Oh, glowy effects. So let's do
Ooh, that's glowy effects.
some pink for the light bulbs. Hard brush. So a couple of ways you can do this. So
Okay.
I typically let me do it again. Make a little circle.
This is blot.
I duplicate it and I tap on the one that's on the bottom. And then when I go here, you have options for blurring. I just do standard Gaussian blur, Gaussian,
Okay.
and you slide your finger and it'll blur. You can kind of see it.
Nice.
It's like it's pink, so it's hard to see, but it'll blur that.
Yeah.
And then with the layer above it, I'm gonna do one of these things.
Ooh. Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Something. I mean, I'm not really trying, but
Yeah, but I get what you mean. I suppose you could also use like an airbrush for your fuzzy shape instead of blurring as well.
Let me change the background color to space color.
Yeah, space it up.
Space. That is not space. Right, because I painted the whole thing.
Just knock it down below and make it a clipping mask, I guess.
Or select shape, invert it, and clear it.
There you go. Do it on the one below that.
Yeah, because you clipped it on the line art.
Oh, right.
Yes,
Thank you.
yeah. There you go. Perfect.
Clipping mask. Yeah.
Perfect.
So you can also
Nice.
change the background color.
Ah, yeah, that's a little bit gauss.
Let's do blue.
That's nice and spacey.
But yeah. And then you can add a little bit of something like that. I don't know.
Cool.
Any questions on anything?
I don't think so, man. I think you've shown us many dark magics. I know I keep
Dark
saying that, but that's the best way I can describe it. Is
We're all
little
mind
things.
blown.
Great at explaining it.
I have a general question, and I'm curious what your experience is. I've had the hardest time getting these, like when I export from here to Photoshop, the colors are odd. They're just not correct.
No.
So if that's I'm getting that comment a lot, and I'm just curious if anybody's figured out a way to stop that from happening.
I color it on Photoshop.
Well, that'll do it.
Yep, there you go.
But here's something you can do is with like the selections and stuff, that's a little tougher. Like it's a little more annoying on Photoshop. So I just put in a gray color in the spots, and then I just adjust the colors on Photoshop.
Okay.
Well, yep.
How are your colors wrong? Like, how is it? Is
The
it duller?
Yeah, the hues are wrong. It's like the color profile changes when you do an export. And I've noticed it's even different. PNG seems to be the closest to what I'm seeing on the screen.
Yeah.
But if I export it in other formats or I do it as a PSD, even if I post it on the website, it looks different.
Yeah.
Weird.
The other
And
thing,
I don't know how to quantify it. I don't know what it's doing.
yeah.
And you have the same color profile in
Yeah.
Photoshop.
Right.
Huh.
Well, you can try to do, I don't know if this will work, but if you tap on a color, you can go to values and try to
Mhm.
match the numbers here.
Yeah.
It might be a screen calibration thing.
It could be. It could be. I've heard that comment so often now. I'm
I-
thinking that might not be it.
I've heard a
That's the
bunch of
cop-out
people talk
answer.
about it too.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
did. I did a picture last year and I built it in RGB and I had some red overlay to get some really nice, and it looked gorgeous in Procreate, and I exported it into Photoshop, and the overlay, I think it was oh gosh, it wasn't color overlay, it was gosh, I
Multiply
can't
or
remember what it
something.
was. Yeah, it wasn't, yeah, it was
Okay.
something, it was an effect though. It was definitely an effect, and it just did not translate from
Oh,
Procreate.
so it's possible that the layer effects are not like
Are
calibrated
different.
the same.
I know
Yeah.
you can't flatten the layer effects in Procreate.
Right.
Right.
You can't?
I wish.
You should be
No.
able
Not
to.
really.
It'll
It'll
convert.
mess it up.
Yeah.
Like
So if you have like a multiply layer and you try to merge it,
Mhm.
it will no longer
That's what it
multiply.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it will multiply it, but not the way you want it.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, I find that if you've got a full stack of things, like a whole bunch of stuff, and the very bottom layer is an opaque color, and you flatten all of them, then it'll work. But if you try and flatten just one thing but leave the rest of them active, it won't work at all. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, it might be the layer effect thing. I used to have a similar problem when I was switching between Photoshop and Paint Tool Sci. Didn't have the same layer effects, and so they would just not work.
Right.
Yeah,
I think the closest you're going to get is, flattening the entire Procreate image to one layer, the bottom layer, and then exporting it. But then, it's like, well, what do I need Photoshop for if I'm doing that?
Yeah.
There's now, so I just went, damn it, well, whatever. One thing, if you hit gallery, it'll remove all your undo history, so you can't undo anymore when I go back to it, but whatever.
Oh, yeah.
When you're making a new thing, they now have color profiles in Procreate. So I don't know what that's called, but they also have CMYK, which I have not used at all. It just says generic CMYK profile, and that's perfect for me. Maybe that'll help. Maybe adjusting this.
Yeah, maybe.
I never
did
knew there were
use that-
so many.
All right, go
I
ahead.
Yeah.
use sRGB instead of display P3. If that's
I
right.
used CMYK when I painted the little mouse on the bamboo boat. I don't know if anybody saw that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took it into Photoshop, and the color was almost exact. There was just a very, very minimal change to it. Because before, if I was just using RGB, it would have gone purple on me, and it didn't go purple at all.
Hmm.
It was nice and blue. Kept
Another
it-
trick I totally forgot. Let me do this. So I don't want to use the texture.
One last trick, and then I am sad to say that I must away to cook food for the family.
Okay. So if I drop something here, I'm still using reference. So with the texture thing, I ended up cutting out the texture so that if I put a background color, it'll no longer be a problem. So the way I did that was I selected that area, and then I went to the texture layer, and you can, just like before, do the invert to select the rest of this drawing, and they actually have you could just do the thing where you could cut it and it'll cut out that background.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what I do.
Cool.
Okay, so I think we can call it for the day. I would love to stay and watch the rest of the day, but I think we should call it. So, people on the Facebook group, I've made a schedule document. I've got like the next 5-6 weeks all planned out.
Cool.
Next week is going to be Ness. I'm pretty sure.
By the way, I don't know if you mind staying on like another minute. I would like to test sharing my screen, see if I'm able to do that.
Sure. Yes. We can. You know what? Let's do that right now. Share your screen
Okay.
with everybody watching.
You're gonna have a surprise of my wallpaper.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Aleksey, stop screen sharing, please.
Okay, let me do that.
I guess I can.
Thank you, Aleksey.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
This was great.
Yes, thank you. It was awesome.
Ah, there it is.
Yeah.
How do I stop? Oh, there, stop share.
Yeah. All right, Ness, share your
Okay,
screen.
share screen.
Who
Oh,
are you
okay.
people?
Okay, wait. I have some.
It'll give you a bunch of options.
I have 2 monitors, so it's asking me like what I want to share.
Yeah, it'll ask what program to.
Oh God. Okay.
We were testing this before too. With
Okay.
Brady.
Number 1.
Good that you guys are testing it.
Share.
Share. Okay, has started screen sharing.
Is it working?
And yep.
Yep.
Oh,
Yay.
beautiful.
Surprise.
All right, one.
Ooh.
Oh, that's Sacred of Kells.
Yeah.
Nice.
I thought maybe you'd get surprised by the creepy stare.
You're not creepy. It's awesome.
I
All
don't
right.
see the chat anymore though. I
No, that'll be my job to monitor the chat while you do stuff next week.
Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough.
All right.
How do I stop?
There should be a little button at the very top. Next. There you go. It stopped. All right,
Cool.
sweet. Thank you, everybody, for coming
Thank you,
out.
everybody.
And next week, same bat time, same bat channel. And we'll see if Zoom continues giving us more time.
If people have more
Thank
questions,
you.
you're welcome to message me or whatever, and I will try to answer them.
Yep.
Cool.
Message Aleksey, post them to Facebook, hunt us down on SBS, ask away.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so next week I'll present. I was thinking of doing a little bit on like how I simplify shapes,
Ooh.
like my thinking process to like maybe take a photo and explain how I would simplify that shape.
That sounds great to me.
Yeah.
Sounds
That sounds
wonderful.
super
Yes.
cool. That is
See you
something I will
guys.
look forward to.
What are shapes?
What are
Bye.
All right.
Bye
sweet.
bye.
Bye,
See you
everybody.
guys later.
Bye.
See ya. And I will end the meeting on this computer because I am using 2 computers. End meeting.